So basically we have this dye, Red 3. It's one of a whole long list of dyes that have been in the spotlight recently, but Red 3 is a particularly interesting one and came up because of its connections to cancer, because it has been found to cause tumors in lab rats. So because of that, it fell under a specific statute and gave the FDA the clearance to ban it, which they did this morning, and which we were able to break a little bit ahead of the FDA announcement.
Yeah, congratulations on that story. I mean, Carol and I both sent it early on this morning when we saw that headline cross. What surprised me after reading it, Dina, was one, it took so long, and two, one, it took so long given the fact that there are different rules and regulations around this specific ingredient in other parts of the world. And two, in that it's in so much at the grocery store right now. What is this in? I'm thinking sprinkles, some different types of sweets, candies.
Rocks, candy corn.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, it's in a lot of candy, mints, like you said, the sprinkles. It's in things like strawberry and Sure from Abbott, and you might find it in other drugs. It's pretty popular in the categories that it's in, and it's funny. This is definitely one of those things that, like, once you see it, you start looking at all the ingredient labels, and you're like, oh God, wow, this is in quite a lot of stuff.
Well, what should be on our radar now? If an ingredient like this is banned, you mentioned other ingredients that are associated with hyperactivity in children. What should kind of be on our radar as conscious consumers? Because yes, the government is taking action now, but I would venture to say, and I think a lot of people out there argue, there is a lot in our food that isn't necessarily good for us.
Yeah, there are a lot of ingredients that advocates would say we should just get rid of them because, you know, if you look at something like red number 3 or red 40, which is not impacted by today's rule from the FDA, these are ingredients that don't serve any purpose other than making something look pretty. So a lot of advocates would say, like, why are we taking a risk for something like that? As consumers, it's really hard if you look at an ingredient label to know what's in there for cosmetic purposes and what's in there for something a little bit more utilitarian, like say increasing shelf life. But I would say any dye, like anything that comes with the color and a number, you can assume is potentially going to be in the spotlight in the next administration, from consumer groups, and in the near future.
Dina, I gotta ask you though, this move coming more than 30 years since the FDA prohibited the use of red number 3 in cosmetics after studies found tumors linked to the dye in lab rats. Why wasn't it like banned from food back then?
This is a really good question, and you know, I don't think I can answer that with 100% certainty, but I would just say that you know, in Europe, you would not find this in almost anything. They do allow it in maraschino cherries, and I think toothpaste as well. But here, we just don't have the same kind of, we don't regulate our food the way they do in Europe.
Peace, peace, assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods, peace to the goddesses. I'm your brother in the struggle for peace, truth, reality, freedom, justice, and equality, Brother Minister Alifullah. Today, family, I want to share with y'all something from the first, last, and only messenger of Allah, Sakeen. Sakeen is the Arabic word which means person, meaning God in person. This is who this is from. From God in person, Master Fard Muhammad. Master Fard Muhammad, when we say God in person, we don't mean a spook God came in the form of a man or some immaculate conception took place at some point in time in the past. We simply mean this. The mind of man is made manifest through the flesh of man. Human beings communicate through human beings. The universe, what we call the mind, scientists refer to as energy. Energy and the mind are both synonymous. They mean the same thing. They exist everywhere. You physically can't see the mind. You physically can't see energy. You can't give a beginning to the mind or ending. You know, there is no beginning to engine to energy. There's no ending to energy. And in the various thousands of pantheons of organized religions through time, religions basically call energy or the mind God. If you was to think backwards in time, say you lived 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, you didn't know about energy yet. Now, I mean, you know, we didn't understand electricity the way we do today. Now, I mean, they didn't have smartphones, you know. So the human mind was an abstract concept. Like, people knew that we had this thing where we can think, but, you know, at best, we just thought it was the brain. In this day and time, we can make it more readily understood because we live in a time of light. So we can picture, even a child can understand that you have a light bulb and you have energy going through that light bulb, or what they would call electricity, but it's actually energy. See, electricity is actually different from energy. Electricity, you know, you can literally run it through a battery. I mean, you know, you could run it through a direct current. You know, you could run it through an AC system or alternating current, an AC or a DC. Energy exists everywhere. Energy is, unlike electricity going through a copper wire, the copper wire is energy. The rubber on the copper wire is energy. The TV is energy. The socket is energy. The plastic cap is energy. The screws are energy. The house is energy. The car is energy. Your body is energy. The leaf is energy. The insects are. Water is energy. Everything in creation is nothing but a manifestation or a certain vibration of energy. The Kabbalion gives us a beautiful analogy like this. I'm paraphrasing. Imagine for a moment, imagine taking a 10-speed bicycle and say you took the lugs off of the front wheel and you took off the rubber tire, the inner tube, and you just had the steel wheel. And say you took that wheel, you put it on this super power drill where you could just sit it on there and lock it on there, it could just spin around. And you turned on the switch and it just starts spinning. Notice that this solid steel wheel, solid, like this wheel, if you hit me in the head, boom, it'll bust my head open. I mean, but that solid physical wheel, if you put it on a thing where it goes into motion, remember, time is created by motion. Say this wheel is spinning. It's making motion. It's making time now. You see? Now, as it spins faster and faster and faster, what properties are manifesting? As it spins, notice you start hearing sound waves. No one is saying anything. There's no musical instruments. It's just a spinning wheel. But the friction in the Earth's atmosphere, since, sound waves, you need water, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us. In order for sound to appear, water must be made manifest. You can't hear sound in outer space, for example. You wouldn't hear sound on the moon if you were spinning it on the moon. But right here on the planet Earth, in the Earth's atmosphere, which is 6 miles high, according to our lessons, that wheel spinning real fast. Sound waves coming from this moving steel wheel. Okay, we got sound. Let's say what happens when we spin it even faster. Turn it all the way up. It not only has sound, but the little tiny particles of dust in our atmosphere is causing friction on the steel wheel. What's happening to it? It's starting to heat up. It's heating up. Now, the wheel is not only making sounds, but it's also generating or emanating heat waves. So now you got heat radiating from a cold steel wheel that's now in motion, is heating up. You see, just like your car zooming down the road, the engine heats up, that motion. I mean, that now you got something that's heating up. And as it's heating up, say you was to turn it up even faster, family. Now that wheel is doing what? It's getting so hot that it's producing colors. You looking at it, you like, yo, that thing was silver and cold. Now it's making this loud noise and it's red hot. And it's producing all this heat where if you was to stop it and you touch it, it'll burn your hand. If you took a gun and just shot it, boom, 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 and you touched, oh, it'll burn your hand. See that heat gets generated from this solid cold still. Okay, but let's take a little step further. Say we was able to spin that wheel even faster. You'll notice that not only is it producing sound waves, but if you spin it real fast, it'll be like and go completely silent. You will literally have this thing break the sound barrier, and it'll go so fast and so loud that all of the colors of the rainbow will come inside this. It'll literally turn white hot. It was red, you'll see blue, you'll see all the colors of the spectrum produced by a moving bicycle wheel. And it'll turn white into this solid wheel. You'll see it start wobbling. It's the atoms in it is vibrating so fast they start changing. Now what's happening? The solid is turned into a liquid. It was a solid still. Now you could literally, if you was to take and just stop it and go grab it, it'll pour on your hand and eat right through your hand. It'll burn the flesh to the bone. Now, I mean, it'll be a liquid, boiling hot piece of iron inside your hand. Atoms of pure iron. It'll literally transform from a solid to a liquid. All the sound waves that it produced until it went from being too loud to peace. The law of polarity, Yakub's law. You see, the Kabbalion teaches us this. All right. So all this is from a solid, cold, still bicycle wheel. Now we got sound generated. We got colors generated. We got heat generated. And we went transformed from a solid to a liquid. And say you was to take that liquid and have it in a beaker and on the same thing, and you just kept spinning that liquid real fast. The liquid is now spinning. That liquid would take and get so hot that the very atoms would vibrate to such a level that it'll literally turn from a liquid into plasma. It'll be like a gas. It'll physically disappear in front of your physical eyes. You'd be like, where did the bicycle wheel go? There's no magic. There's no mystery, God. The universe did that. Mother Nature did that. Mathematics did that. Cause and effect did that. You see? That's to show you that just because we see something in the material world doesn't mean it didn't come from the mind of man. It didn't come from energy. That's what religious people call God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Jesus, the creator, alcoholic, or whatever nomenclature you want to use, a spiritual term. It's all saying the same thing, just in a different way. So what we're doing after 66 trillion years, we're codifying and bringing these ancient sciences, not just science, but we call it spiritual science. See, in America, the First Amendment teaches you that Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of a religion. They separate church and state, or religion and politics, if you will. However, in reality, spirituality is science, and science is spirituality, if you understand it. So, with that on the table, I would like to turn your attention to page 93 and How to Eat to Live, book number 2. We have book number 1, 1967, and we're going to come from book number 2, specifically 1972. Recently, the Food and Drug Administration, they basically finally passed a law that basically saying, look, we're going to ban the chemical red dye number 3. All right. Now, this red dye number 3 is in sodas, it's in candy, it's in food products, what have you. They've been using it some people say since the 1960s. I say way before the 1960s. As you'll see, I'm going to show you the actual chemists that, invented this stuff back in the 1800s, and different people been using it for different things. You be like, you go to certain markets and you see this red dye making your meat look like it's all fresh and all this kind of stuff like that there. But it's giving people thyroid cancer. Now, I mean, you got people that don't smoke, don't eat a bad diet. They no one is perfect, but they live a pretty good, healthy life, but they getting prostate cancers and brain tumors and things. It's all these different chemicals and processed foods that we're consuming in the wilderness of North America, unfortunately. Know what I mean? But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, even though his book was written way back in the early 70s and 60s, late 60s, he had that premise. He gave us a universal and eternal foundation, meaning that in the future, as we perfect DNA and, as they clone different animals and they come up with genetically modified foods, and it's all types of fruits and vegetables. You could get a tomato that has pork in it. You could get a tomato that has fish in it. You could get a apple that has beef in it. It's no limit to this stuff. So we live in a whole new world. And it seemed like the messenger's message is not for this age of mess, but the messenger's message is for eternity, okay? So I'm going to show you how you have to read and then reread How to Eat the List so that you can extract the principles, the mathematical principles, so that you can have a foundation to better yourself in any aspect of life. All right. Page number 93. Let's look at this real quick. All right. This is chapter 25. Chapter 25, page number 93 from 1972. I want to share with you something the messenger says to us. He says, and I quote, "We must be careful of what we put in our stomachs, because what we put in our stomachs will maintain life and it will take life away. The world that we are now living in, as I have repeatedly written in this article, is a commercial world, which commercializes on everything on which they can make an extra dollar. The food that we eat is robbed of its natural vitamins and proteins. Do you want some vitamins and proteins? Go to the drugstores. There, you will find them on the shelves in the drugstores in pills and in liquid form. Now, you may eat a lot of what you used to think was good vitamin and protein food, but those vitamins and proteins are not there in the food anymore. When the vitamins and proteins have been taken from natural food, where nature put them and where they should be eaten, you then do not have the original pure vitamins and proteins. When the vitamins and proteins are chemically taken out of natural foods, it makes the food less valuable. The chemicals used to take out vitamins and proteins from their natural place in food, and the chemicals used to keep and preserve the vitamins and proteins, make it not too safe for us to eat vitamins and proteins in pills and liquid form. All praise is due to Allah. Came the person of Master Muhammad for blessing us with a messenger to help guide us through this age of mess. We live in a world where you be thinking like, oh, I'm going to just go, to the store and I'm going to buy some oranges and I'm going to eat the orange and get some vitamin C. I'm going to buy me a banana, eat the banana, get some potassium. I'm going to eat me a piece of salmon and get me some protein. I'm going to eat a boiled egg and get some protein. Family. You know, it's vitamins there, it's vitamin C there, it's vitamin D there, it's vitamin E there, it's vitamin, you know, it's no B12 there no more. I mean, you know, you don't get B12 if you're a vegan. I mean, you know, don't let the spooky stuff spook you out. I mean, the food is robbed of its original natural world, meaning for the past 6,000 years, the Holy Quran teaches us corruption has appeared on the land and the sea on account of what mankind's hands have wrought. So they poison the air we breathe. We breathe 3 cubic feet of air. Know what I mean? Not 3 inches like some people be thinking. 3 cubic feet of air. Know what I mean? You know, they poison the water. They poison the soil, the land that we live. So when you grow stuff, unlike prior to 6,000 years ago when the earth was fertile and balanced, we just can't get natural B12 from fruits and vegetables. You know, you got to eat some meat. You got to eat some fish. You got to eat some lean chicken, some lean turkey, you know, some eggs or something, just to find some B12 in this day and time. You need some meat products, technically. You know what I mean? You know, and that's sad. Because what it does is if you're trying to be a vegetarian, or what we call in this modern day and time a vegan, it puts you in a dilemma. Because B12 is a natural chemical. Like if you've seen it, it look like mercury, like it look like more like a natural element that helps regulate your central nervous system. But what happens is they rob the soil so much. They overtax the land so much. That's one of the things the Native Americans was real smart about. They knew, like, okay, you know, they had like strange concepts. Like if you're going to take up a stalk of corn, put a fish inside the hole and cover it up and bury the fish in there. You know, if you grow carrots this season, next season don't grow carrots. Next season grow some radishes over there, or some tomatoes or something. What they was doing was allowing the earth to heal. Sometimes they would, like, you know, just plant crops and let the crops rot in the field and become compost to enrich the soil. You see, you know, they learned that you could take and allow animals to eat natural grass and that natural waste product, that fecal matter, that becomes compost in the soil. It becomes fertilizer. See, it puts the nitrates and things right back into the earth. And this ecosystem shows that every atom, I'm just talking about just on Earth, I'm talking about the entire universe. I'm talking about the sun, stars, atoms, carbon, hydrogen. It's all in our thoughts. Everything in the universe operates off the law of vibration. Everything, you see? And when we have these imbalances, we suffer illnesses. You know what I mean? It makes us literally other than our own selves, you see? So, in How to Live, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is showing us that if you want to get some vitamins and proteins, you got to be mindful that the 10%, the rich, the slave makers of the poor, the corporations that rule the world, that make these super companies, these super farms, these super corporations, these extremely wealthy products that they can extract things by artificial production, they just use an assembly line. They like, man, we looking at our bottom line. We trying to make this money. Know what I mean? And, you know, they be like, well, it's side effects from this. Know what I mean? Well, we put this chemical in there. You know, they be like, well, you know, we put the MSG, the monosodium glutamate in the food. It's like a flavor enhancer. It looks like salt, but it's like a flavor enhancer. You know, like the tip of the tongue we see is connected to the nerve central of the brain. So, you know, things that taste sweet, things that taste sour, things in fact may taste bitter. You know, we could take and manipulate and trick the brain and trick the tongue and trick the organs of the body, where we could take and literally add these drugs inside of this food, and the people get addicted to the sugar. They get addicted to the salts. They get addicted to the nitrates. They get addicted to the artificial dyes. They get addicted to the artificial colorings that we put inside these foods, so that their body's like, I can't function without it. Be like, yo, I've been drinking this coffee so long. Like, if I'm driving a car, operating a machine, and I ain't had no coffee, my brain is aching. I got a coffee headache. I got a migraine as I ain't had no coffee in 2 days. Like I literally be like, I'm gonna go do this tomorrow. I'll literally pass out and go to sleep. I mean, I don't even have the energy. You see, it's because they intentionally get us addicted to the creamer and the chemicals that's in coffee creamer. Like, you ever take the time to, I literally my grandmother used to make coffee when I was a child. You know what I mean? When I was a child, she'd get up and she cooked her some pork scrapple, pork sausage, pork bacon, some eggs and white toast and orange juice and coffee. And I used to wake up smelling that Maxwell House. That stuff smelled good. I mean, I'm like 10 years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, grandma, she got pancakes and, you know what I mean? The butter, the syrup on it, back then it was better syrup, you know what I mean? Now we got all this high fructose corn syrup, but, back then the food wasn't all that healthy, but at least it was more real than all of the processed stuff we eat in this day and time, unfortunately. So, when I used to come down there for breakfast, right there on the 1500 block of Hazard Street in North Philadelphia, I always sat in the chair right next to the refrigerator. Know what I mean? And she'll always put more food on there than I could eat. I mean, my grandma, I was my mom's only boy, so I was her grandson, so she spoiled me to death. All the toys, anything I wanted. I could do no wrong with her sight. Love my grandma. Thoughts of peace be upon her. But she didn't have knowledge herself when it came to cooking. I mean, she cooked out of love. She served soul food. I mean, so when I eat the food, my thing is I see my grandpa and, my dad and her and my aunts, they got coffee. I got my orange juice, some milk. Like, I want to drink some coffee. I want to do what the big folks do. You know what I mean? Oh, no, you can't have none of this coffee, this, that. Like, I want some coffee. I can't. She's like, look, I'm going to give you a little bit. And I'm gonna give you mostly milk and sugar. Now, I mean, so she'll get the milk and the sugar. I said, I want the creamer. So she put some of the cream. Back then they had the powder creamer. She put the powder creamer in there, a little coffee. I think she had like flavored milk. You know what I mean? But, I love that stuff. That stuff was delicious. But I didn't know the chemicals in it. My little brain and my little heart, my little kidneys, my liver, they processing all this stuff. You know what I mean? So I'm like developing, like I'm putting extra sugar in my cereal. Like, we got shredded wheat. I don't like shredded wheat. We got, cornflakes. We ain't got no Frosted Flakes. We ain't got no Sugar Smacks. You know what I mean? I like my cereal with the sugar in it, So she had these healthy cereals, shredded wheat, and they had the Wheaties back then. I mean, and they was healthier foods, but we would intentionally poison them by pouring a bunch of sugar in there. I mean, I had so much sugar in the cereal that when you finish, I drink the milk and I could see the sugar all in. I'm drinking the pure sugar milk. Know what I mean? And I didn't know that sugar was that powerful. I mean, that addictive. So we get addicted to these chemicals that's inside these foods, and it follows us through our whole life. We struggle with food addiction. We become foodaholics, and there is not a human being on earth today that's not suffering from these poisons. If you breathe air, you're breathing polluted air. If you drink spring water, you're drinking polluted water. If you eat fruits, if you eat vegetables, it's sad. So different people suffer different things genetically, environmentally. You know what I mean? If we're not practicing how to live, fasting, and using the medicine that God prescribes, we can really lose our lives in the struggle. That's how deadly the foods and drinks are on the face of the planet Earth in 2025. Know what I mean? So the Elijah Muhammad shows us, like, if you want some vitamins and proteins, it's sad, but you got to go to the drugstore and get some. You see what I'm saying? It's like you may eat pretty good and you may not need a vitamin. Maybe your age, your lifestyle, it's not cookie cutter. Everybody's situation is different. Know what I mean? Like me, I take a vitamin sometimes. Know what I mean? I get like the men's Centrum, for example. And it's like, it's chemicals or ingredients in there that I'd be like, processed, don't like, but overall, when I weigh the pros and cons, it's like, okay, well, eating all this junk food, all this processed crap over here, I'd be 60 in a couple of days. Let me balance this out. They want me to take this vitamin once a day. I definitely don't take. Years ago, like 20 something years ago, my doctor actually gave me a small little red vitamin to take. I wonder if that was red dye 3 back then. I don't know, but it was definitely I don't know if you remember the old pills called One A Day. It was the One A Day vitamins, the red ones. I got to check into that. I mean, but it was so long ago. I'm pretty sure it was other poisons that I had, But she gave me the vitamin to take every day. But I was younger. I was very active in fitness, fasting, eating to live, all that kind of stuff. I was what they call a vegetarian. I practiced that for like at least 10 years. I mean, but I literally got sick because my body got too clean. I mean, like it literally, like I was like the boy in the bubble. Like it was so many poisons around that literally when I ate a banana, it was so many pesticides on the fruit that it almost killed me. Like I just peeled the banana and just ate a piece of banana, but I didn't wash the banana. And nowadays they be like, you got to wash the banana with produce detergent. It's like you got to clean chemicals with chemicals. It's just a crazy world we live in. But I literally, like you could literally like just pick up an orange and peel an orange and be eating an orange and, rub your eye something, the pesticides on a pill and get inside your mouth and it'll swell your lip up, swell your throat up. I mean, cut off your breathing and kill you. That's how dangerous some of this stuff is. So you got to be real careful in this day and time. Now, I mean, my doctor, when they checked it out, they literally was like, look, your body is too detox. He's like, you need to get your body used to poisons and toxins. I mean, when I came from the belly of the beast, we went to a gas station. All I did was smell of exhaust. Sick as a dog. Like, like, what is y'all breathing earlier around? I mean, but it's sad, but this is the world we live in. I mean, and it's bad because now I adjusted and adapted to this corrupted world, so I'm pretty good now. It's like I'm solid. Everything good because I got the poisons all in me. My body is. But if I was to stop, then I probably get sick and die. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's like this world we live in, family. I mean, so the vitamins are, as the British say, the vitamins. They take the vitamin C out the orange and they process it and sell that separate as vitamin C inside the pills. I mean, they take the proteins out of the meats and they sell that separately as proteins. I mean, they take the vitamin D out of dark green leafy foods or milks and they process the stuff and they come up with, and then they got all the synthetic stuff. Now, I mean, so the message is showing us that the chemicals that they use to process these vitamins, it's not good for our health. So you're in a situation like, I don't have no vitamins over here in the food. The vitamins in pill and liquid form is toxic. All you could do is struggle. I mean, all you could do is try to find your balance. Be like, okay, well, maybe I can make sure I wash this stuff. Make sure I try to find some organic, buy fruit and vegetables that's locally raised, grow my own. Like, you know, my wife, she grows a little garden, so we have our own, say, tomatoes and things of that nature. There's some bell peppers. Those things ain't too difficult to grow and raise. Some cucumbers or what have you. You know what I mean? You know, so it's like some stuff you can grow, and you be like, man, these organic little cherry tomatoes is delicious. But then you got to make sure the seed is right, because they got all these grafted seeds. Like, corporations literally own all the seeds. Like, the government takes seeds and hide it in a mountain for emergencies. It's crazy how this world is. It's like they literally got genetically engineered seeds. So you be like thinking you getting something natural or something organic or something healthy, and it's like, no, it's like they going against the universal order of things. They going against mathematics. They going against time and test. They going against 114 trillion years of natural evolution, mathematics. I mean, and our body's going to react to that stuff. Now, I mean, so the messenger here is showing us what to do. So what I had to do personally, I ain't telling you to do this. I want you to do what's your conscience tell you, what your research tell you to do, what your doctor tell you to do, you know, what's best for your situation. Because sometimes things change. You know what I mean? You be like, okay, well, I'm not eating this, that, and the other, and I might not eat something for 8 years. Then all of a sudden I eat something like that. I ain't eat no red meat in 8 years. I'm gonna eat some of this. I'm gonna eat some of this organic steak. You know what I mean? And my body will be like, that needed that protein. Like, I feel stronger, fuller. I mean, it's like this crap can hold for a while, but it's like, okay, boom, let me go on a fast. All right, what I'm gonna do now, I'm not going to eat breakfast or lunch. I mean, I'm gonna eat after 4 to 6 p.m. I mean, you know, I'm gonna eat this one meal a day, ride that out for the rest of the year, and you just juggle that stuff. Know what I mean? So instead of taking a vitamin like I did what my doctor told me to do 20 years ago, when she gave me the red vitamins to take, the one-a-days, and I'm taking it once a day. Every day I take my red little pill, know what I mean? And it literally put a blister on the roof of my mouth. I'm like, yo, bro, son, don't play that, you know what I mean? Cut off the vitamins completely. Went right away, no problem. I mean, so I knew, like, you got to be careful if you get too much of a vitamin. See what I'm saying? You know, a medicine becomes a poison when you don't need it. I mean, you know, so the message teaches certain things are prescribed for us. But after your prescription, you don't keep taking the same thing. If you're in a different situation, different place in your life, it's like, yo, I'm eating like one meal every 3 days, vegetarian. Like, why is I'm taking a vitamin? My body like, yo, you good. You don't need no one-a-day vitamin, know what I mean? But, you know, then when I get after 50, you know, I'm in my late 50s now, it's a different thing. I'm like, okay, let me take and balance all this stuff out, get me a vitamin. So I, you know, analyzing different vitamins and stuff like that there, what's in it, so forth. Because I'm not getting B12 when I'm not eating meat, know what I mean? You know, but when I get the vitamin, it's like one, I don't know if you ever seen the Central pill or whatever, but some vitamins is real big. I don't really like swallowing them type of pills, you know, but it's like I'll break it in half, take a half a jar. But it was like, I'm not going to take this every day. Know what I mean? And over the past like 2 years, I say I would take a vitamin, physical vitamin. I probably would take one probably like once or twice every 3 months. You know what I mean? But that little boost, you see what I'm saying, helps keep everything regulated, helps keep the body balanced out. Now, I mean, somebody else may need it every week, or somebody else every other day. Somebody else need it every single day. Now, I mean, but, you know, we eat a lot of good vegetables, salads, and fruits. And right now we got a big giant thing in the refrigerator of like kiwi and cantaloupe and pineapples and grapes and things. So my wife, she loves her fruit stuff. So we keep fruit salads in the house. I can't picture not having fresh fruit in this house. I mean, like bananas, apples, blueberries, countless blueberries. You know what I mean? So, she always be like, you want me to put you some a fruit cup together? I'll be like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, I eat me some junk food. I eat me some potato chips, you know what I mean? But she like eating that stuff, you know what I mean? And I know I need it, so I'll be like, don't eat that. Just when we eat, then just go ahead and put that on the table. That's in a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and eat it. She'll put a little cinnamon on it, whatever. And I eat it. I just ate a cup of it this last night, so that's why it's on my mind like that. But those little things help the body. Know what I mean? Especially when they clean fruits and vegetables. Ain't nothing perfect, but you just get decent fruits and vegetables. Know what I mean? Like you want to balance it all out. Know what I mean? It'd be like some people, like the message said, just totally avoid certain things. But it's like you could be doing all this stuff, then all of a sudden you find out, oh man, they giving us cancer with the chemical red dye number 3. My personal problem with all that is if it's red dye number 3, it's other vitamins and other red dyes and other blue dyes and yellow dyes and other chemicals. It's like, and over the years, you come across information, like I've read different books, like in my research, it's like they literally show you all the countless poisons in the foods that we eat, how they do the fish farms and mega farms, and it's just ridiculous how they do this stuff in this day and time. But my point is, all you want to do is try to balance it all out. So now that the Food and Drug Administration took and just banned the red dye number 3, they still got, I think it's a couple of years before they get it off the market. So that means they got all this red dye in stores. They like drug dealers. They like, oh, we ain't gonna be able to sell this stuff and use this stuff. So they're gonna flood the market. So that stuff gonna be all over the place. So you want to be careful about candies and popsicles and red drinks and, I mean, plus they mix it with stuff like Mountain Dew sodas and, certain stuff is just way more toxic than other stuff, sad to say. Now, I mean, it's like, my recommendation to people that like sodas, for example, instead of getting a soda, get you some pure seltzer water. Now, I mean, get you some seltzer water, and, they got flavored seltzer waters that got the artificial flavors in it, but they actually sell plain old carbonated water. Know what I mean? And it's that acid soda taste to the body, but you could put some real juice in it if you want. Know what I mean? And you basically can make your own soda. You can put some real orange juice in there. You can put some real, Welch's grape juice in there, make some grape soda or whatever. You can put some real ginger in there, put the ginger inside the blender, blend it up with some spring water, and you could mix that with the seltzer and have you some natural ginger ale with some lemon in it or some lime juice in it, what have you. So you just gotta balance all this stuff out, and you'll find, like, you get some big things of spring water, and you put some lemon inside there, it'll make you want to drink it more. Especially in something like, before I go to bed, I'll sit the thing of water right there, so through the night I'll go ahead and sip it. Because this wintertime, you had a heat on, what have you, get dehydrated easy. You know what I mean? But you flush your kidneys and your liver, of these toxins by struggling to keep the body or the temple of God as best you can. It'll never be where you want it. I mean, like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I used to be. I'm not where I should be. I mean, but I'm not where I could be. I mean, so you want to, the message told us how to deliver. He said, I don't do all these things being restrictive. He said, I act a fool sometimes. Know what I mean? He said, but if I did what Master Father Muhammad taught me to do and ate to live the way he said, I wouldn't even suffer the pains and ailments that he went through. Know what I mean? So, it's like when you're in the struggle and you're busy, you prioritize stuff, and you be like, man, if it was up to me, I'd be chilling on vacation, lifting weights, exercising, running, meditating, walking, sleeping, whatever. But when you busy, you're in mental, physical wars, constantly in the struggle, I mean, you be like, man, I ain't got time to get me a good, nutritious meal. I ain't got time to go home. I'm gonna just grab something on the go, keep it moving, get a little snack. I mean, I got to binge. I got to work all night. So those things slowly start taking that toll, and you just want to always try to come back and get your myad, or get that balance, get that peace of mind and contentment, get that freedom, justice, and equality. So let's look at another issue about these chemicals from How to Eat to Live. This time we're going to turn to page 107 as well as 108. All right. Now, this chapter is technically on the swine. I'm not really coming to, I want y'all to look at the chemical aspect of this. He says, and I'm going to backtrack to go to something else that we just read. All right. He said, America's markets are loaded with swine and loaded with vegetables and fruits, which are preserved and made to look beautiful by having poison chemicals poured upon them. Let me read that again. Don't miss that. All right. America's markets are loaded with swine, talking about pork, and loaded with vegetables. America's market is loaded with vegetables and fruits. America's markets are loaded with vegetables and fruits. That's vegetarian food. That's the vegan stuff. The vegetables and fruits, which are preserved, and made to look beautiful by having poison chemicals poured upon them. That's How to Live, 1972, page 107, 108. I remember a while ago, it was like almost 40 years ago, I'm unloading fruit off of a truck for the devil in the belly of the beast. And it's like boxes of fruit, you know what I mean? And, we got to put it on this cart and take it to these big refrigerators and stuff like that, load it all up in there. So it's like, hard work. I was a young boy back then, but we load and unload in the truck, whatever. And because I was around so many of these cases that I happened to read them. And I was like curious, like, why is that box of apples coming with a label saying ingredients? It didn't make sense to me. I'm like, why is it ingredients in apples? And I'm like, this don't make sense. So I actually went over there and read this thing. And it was like red dye, wax. Like basically they literally take the apples to try to make the apples look pretty and beautiful, as the messenger said. They was dipping the apples in some type of chemical, putting some type of wax on it that you could literally take the apple and rub it on your shirt. That joint be shining like a spit shine shoe. Because they putting literally, I'm like, yo, what is this? Beeswax, chemical wax? I mean, like they literally was processed. Like I'm reading the bananas, like, why is it chemicals inside these bananas? I mean, and then I, start doing the math and the research. And then it was like, oh, these rich corporations enslave poor people to grow and pick and produce and ship these bananas to market. But bananas is real easy for a fungus to kill all the bananas. I mean, so they like, we got to make some super bananas. I mean, now the natural little tiny bananas, they start making all these hybrid, grafted, big, giant, beautiful bananas. They perfectly yellow, no spots on them, no blemishes. You break it open, ain't no seeds in there. You're like, how's this thing growing? How's this big giant navel sun-kissed orange thing is so sweet? It's delicious. Wait a minute. I remember back in the 70s, my mom used to slice and give a quarter oranges and give us orange and we eat the orange and we got to spit all these seeds out. I mean, I'm like, what? What happened to the seeds inside these oranges? How did these little tiny bananas get so huge? I mean, I seen peaches that was like this big. I'm like, I'm scared to eat that joint. I mean, you know, and it's like literally they are using chemicals to make the food last long on the shelf. They like, yo, we got to get these bananas from Guatemala. We got to get them from all the way over this island, all the way to Philadelphia or New York or what have you. They like, we going to have to do something. Know what I mean? And it literally, like, they literally would, like, pick bananas while they was, like, dark green, sprayed with all these pesticides, and because, you know, bugs and insects like to eat what we eat. I mean, so that kill all the bugs. You'd be like, but if you kill all the bugs, you're going to kill all the people. Well, we ain't worrying about people. As long as they stay alive long enough to keep buying the bananas. I mean, and they put them inside, like, these lime green bags. And I was like, why is they using those bags like this? Like, that color, you know, it prevents the light from getting in there and retarding the banana and, I mean, turning it brown. So it's like, it makes it get a longer shelf life. So they do anything to make that money. That's basically how that goes. The love of that money is the root of all evil, family. Know what I mean? So we're going to turn to another page real quick. Hold on one here about these chemicals. Because we got this red dye number 3. The message says right here. All right, this is chapter 46. Do not need drugs if we live right. Okay. Now, I use poison drugs, poison alcohol, poison beer, poison cigarettes, poison weed, poison dust. I love them poisons inside my poison body. But when you get knowledge of self, the message of teachings help you to help yourself, you see? And we look at drugs in the sense of illegal, illicit street drugs. No, there are some things that are more toxic than fentanyl and coke and dope and crack and meth and beer and wine and alcohol. You know what I mean? It's the food and candy and sodas and high fructose corn syrup and monosodium glutamate and red dyes and artificial flavors and artificial colors that's in millions and millions of food that we consume each and every day. Billions of people all over the planet Earth. Now, I mean, it's literally addictive, just like drugs. Like your brain, dopamine be released when you get your fix. I mean, you know, you'd be like, yo, you putting all that sugar. You know, I remember I used to see brothers, my comrades, and, you know, we used to get our little workouts up. And with me, white sugar always has a bad effect in my body. Like, I could eat processed garbage sugar. Like, I could eat chocolate chip cookie, no problem. I could eat a piece of candy, a piece of chocolate. Sugar, the white sugar that's in something processed, for some reason, my body don't really react to that like that. And I mean, you know, but if I took 1 pack of sugar, I wouldn't care if it's sugar in the raw, some raw honey, agave, whatever. The negative effect would be within 24 hours. Like if I took a cup of tea and I drank a cup of tea, just a regular cup of tea with just 1 thing of sugar. If I went to a restaurant or I put 1 pack of sugar inside a cup of coffee and I drank a cup of coffee with some sugar in it, I would get a bump here, here, here. Somewhere on my face, on my back, I would get bad acne. So as a kid, as a teenager, when I was like in gymnastics, constantly exercising, boxing and all that, constantly sweating, football, basketball, rough out, we sports and playing all day long. Know what I mean? I was like, oh, I could not drink or eat certain things. I literally eliminated out my diet because I figured it out. I used to work in grocery stores. So I'm like, people that know me, like I'm the guy with the keys to the stores, 2 stores I worked at the same time. I'm the manager of 2 stores from the age of like 14. Now I mean, for Johnny Bird, J&B Variety Store at 12th and Nedrew and 13th and Parkside Avenue in Philadelphia. Now I mean, so it's like I'm the guy. Like when I go to school, I got the book bag with like 20 packs of gum. I mean, 20 candy bars, the cookies, whatever. So I'm giving stuff like to the girls, my homie, anybody wants some grub, they know like, yo, Ace got, I mean, you know, I'm selling candy, giving it away free, you know, and it's like, I'm eating the crap myself, you know, and it's like, I didn't have a problem with certain stuff, but I knew I could not drink a Pepsi soda or Coca-Cola, especially a Coca-Cola soda. I'd be dead. Coca-Cola soda. Just one bottle. I mean, I'd be done. Now, I mean, Sugar Rush, no, bad acne, like literally like messed me up. So I'd be like, for some reason, I could drink Hawaiian Punch soda. I mean, I could drink a Hawaiian Punch. I could drink Sprite soda. Technically, I could drink a 7-Up back then, but a Sprite soda and a Hawaiian Punch, that was my shot. I could not drink a root beer soda. Certain stuff, if I drunk it within 24 hours, oh man, why I drink that crap? I mean, but I'm eating candy and all this stuff. Like literally when you eat it, your tongue is red. I'm not thinking about red dye. I never read the bottle to Hawaiian, but so I know I'm guggling red dye number 3 after sport and play and stuff like that there. I know I'm poisoning the body for years. Now, I mean, you know, so you be thinking like, oh, well, I quit smoking. I quit, you know, like I'm good now. And then, you know, you still wind up sick. Now, I mean, your teeth fall out. I mean, you be like, you know, you get acne all over. It's because there's other chemicals hidden inside these foods. So you literally got to read anything you buy now. Like, I mean, it's sad, but you gotta, I wouldn't care. I mean, it's the most things that I'm talking about me as a minister with knowledge of self thinking that it can't be that bad. Then you read you're like, it's that bad. Like literally like something as simple as like in the wintertime, some soup. You were like, oh, you know, make some soup with you better make that soup. You better off literally getting you some whole wheat noodles, getting you some pure chicken broth or turkey broth, some red onions, some vegetables, some carrots, you know what I mean? Some, you know, literally making your own chicken noodle soup or making your own homemade turkey soup and literally putting your own all natural organic ingredients in it and spices and seasonings, what have you. Because it's like if you go to the supermarket and just pick up a can of soup. I'm talking about name brand, Progresso, light stuff, low sodium. It don't make a difference. Read that stuff. You be like, yo, it's all kind of chemicals in there. It's like bioengineered crap. You be like in the regular thing of soup, like, yo, it's like y'all put in soybean oil in everything. Monosodium gluten, MSG, artificial flavoring is like in that's stuff that you used to eat or you may still eat. You got to literally be like, let me read these cheese doodles. Let me read these potato chips. Let me read this, you know, and you're going to see some stuff is literally better than others. Like you literally be like, if you're going to eat some chips, it's a difference between some baked, I'm not being paid by any, you know, like I don't, YouTube pays me like the most ever got from YouTube in 10 years. I think it's like $100 or something. I mean, so I don't make no money with this. I mean, you know, you got to do all that on your own and all that, but I'm busy just teaching the message of teaching. So for my 600 videos, it may cost me like the do my own production and all that stuff. It costs me on my side. You know, I might spend $1,000 just to get a video to y'all. I mean, you know, it's like I may have to travel, I may have to do this, that, and, you know, things behind the scene, technology, whatever, you know. But, you know, when I look at my analytics, YouTube, I think this month I probably made like $30 or something. So don't think I'm doing this because they telling me to do it or they paying me to do it. If you see me, I show a product or whatever, that's just me showing the product because I believe in that product. I mean, I'm doing that for free. Now, I mean, it's like, yeah, that John worked. I mean, I like that. I mean, it's like, but it's like, that's a separate aspect of all this, because you have some companies that will take and just sell products that they know contains deadly and harmful chemicals. And you got people that's like, yo, I'm trying to make money. I got bills to pay. So they be like, I'm going to teach anything. That's why you see people teach crazy stuff, because that thing is like, they don't care. If they could get things to go viral, they like, man, I don't care how much money I made off that. I mean, so they doing it for the love of money. I'm doing it for the love of Messenger Elijah Muhammad. I mean, it's like I really love the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad. I really want to share that with y'all from the heart. I mean, in How to Live, he tell us about these chemicals, so you got to be careful about them. All right. So he told us in chapter 46, he said, do not need drugs if we live right. Now, I mean, so he basically explained to us, I'm going to quote him real briefly, and this ain't the only place he teach on this. He teach on stuff different ways in different places at different times, all right? He said, this is one of the most important objects of our lives, how to eat to live. For Almighty God, Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, taught me that food keeps us here and food takes us away. So, to regulate the food and drink is one of the important things of life. To eat one meal a day and nothing between meals is driving away a lot of the, quote, cure-all drugs. We do not need drugs if we live right. In the next life, or under the rule of God, there will be no such thing as drugs to keep and maintain life. So the Elijah Muhammad basically teaches us there will be no drugs in the hereafter. Like the Bible teaches us in the book of Revelation, we're going to have a new type of fruit. See, once something is burnt up for 390 years, takes 610 years to cool off, the atomic structure, the carbon atoms is going to produce new fruits, new vegetables, new life forms, new water. I mean, we're going to have new air, better oxygen, so our genetic makeup is going to be more balanced and in harmony with the universal order of things. So we're not going to need processed chemical pills and surgeries and medicines and things in that type of world. Now, I mean, we'll have a higher sense of technology, a more natural sense of technology. See, we in this day, in this time, we look at Bluetooth and Wi-Fi like that's like, wow, we in the modern day, like this is barbaric, corny stuff that we're using this day and time for real. In our natural state, you go back in antiquity, we used to communicate with mental telepathy. I wouldn't need a camera or a mic. I could communicate with you from mind to mind. Just the law of vibrations. You just tune right in. I mean, it'd be like the message call. It's like having a radio in your head. You know how you got a radio and they got AM and FM, AM amplitude modulations, FM is frequency modulation. You'd be like, look, I'm gonna be on power 105.3. I'm being on power 99.3 today. I mean, and you tune in and we could communicate from mind to mind. That was a real true power that existed abundantly then. Now this, occasionally, we got instinct. We still have intuition, if you know when to listen to it, but you still can tune in. I mean, Allah will tell you like, boom, don't mess with her. Don't mess with him. I mean, now you can ignore it. I mean, but Allah be like, yo, I gave you that power. I mean, to avoid your enemies. I mean, but you be like Jesus. Jesus could tune in. Now, I mean, he had a radio in his head. He had the power of mental telepathy that he learned from the lessons, 3 lessons from the elders, you see. But people don't understand those sciences because their pineal gland, their brains and their heart and their niyat, their intentions ain't pure enough. I mean, they're not clean enough, not in a physical or they dry fasted sense, but in a spiritual sense of the word, meaning that they are not submitting their will to the will, the collective will of Allah God who came in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, to whom all praises due forever. Know what I mean? So these things are real. These are real God and goddess powers that we're born with. Know what I mean? And you know, that radio in the head or that TV in your head, like your television, you have VHF and UHF on old-fashioned TVs. They was very high frequency, ultra high frequency. Those are natural powers. I mean, you know, they are thick and thin vibrations of wavelengths. I mean, the law of vibration is a real law. Everything in your body is constantly vibrating. Every atom, every sound wave, every thought is constantly vibrating. The thought rod is not just traveling, but it's actually vibrating. The rods from the sun that's traveling 186,000 miles, they vibrating. The sound waves come from this 1,120 feet per second. These sound, I mean, you know, my lips and my hard and soft palate, now my esophagus is sending these sound waves that's actually hitting that little thin piece of eardrum and is vibrating and it's sending signals to your brain. But if you're not getting B12, you're not going to be able to tune in. If your pineal gland is full of evil and lies and jealousy and chaos and death and doom and destruction and poison, you calcifying yourself. You polluting the body temple of God. You know what I mean? But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us there are people that can still tune in this day and time. But everyone is born with natural intuition, natural instinct. Now, I mean, you know, a self-accusing spirit. So when you walking down the street, something in yourself will tell you. Tune in like Spider-Man. The hair stand up and back. Whoa. Let me get that thing out. I mean, you know, something like, oh, let me go this way. I mean, what's up with that car right there? I mean, and you know, now some people ignore it. Hey, I mean, things happen so that things may occur. Now, I mean, so we want to be able to get all this stuff, all this pollution that we have internally and externally. We want to try to filter it all out and balance it all out. So these chemicals that the messenger teaches us, he explained to us that in the hereafter, we're not going to need no drugs or anything of that nature there, because we're going to eat to live. We're going to breathe to live. We're going to drink to live. We're going to think to live. And how to live? He said, eat right, think right, and be right. You don't have to die to be like the angels. You'll be like them while you're alive. You see? So there is no mystery, anything with any of this stuff, according to the life-giving teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he teaches us that these chemicals, I'm going to just read one more for y'all. Let me find this one. This is page 158. Technically 158 and 159. All right. Okay. This chapter is the same chapter on do not need drugs if we live right. He says on page number 158. If the medical doctors and the theologian teachers and scientists of chemicals, family, if the medical doctors and the theologian teachers and scientists of chemicals are indulging and are not successful in expanding their own lives and what they are offering to us to eat and drink, then why should we follow their way of life? The chemical doctors go to the earth to get chemicals to heal themselves and us. These chemicals soon will destroy both, and their bodies were not made to be supported by chemicals for health and longevity. The fact is, the body of man was not to be drugged. This white man brought all this stuff on us because he was not going to be righteous, and he went to the earth to try to find a God for his belly and drugs and chemicals. Now the thing is catching up with him with what his own hands have produced. And they are willing to confess that these things are not good for us. They are turning down much of their medication, which is absolutely poison and detrimental to us. It is prophesied in the Holy Quran that when the God of truth, freedom, justice, and equality comes, he will force this evil world to confess their evil. And this they are doing. So here the message is telling us about these scientists using these chemicals. And see, this is the dilemma that we're in. You know, it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So as a minister, I never uses force or compulsion. The Holy Quran teaches us there's no compulsion in Islam. The message teaches us in our lessons in 24 Principles of Islam, we have to use good judgment and discretion. You see, we have to be analytical in our way of thinking. You know, there are situations that arise. You know, I remember some years ago, and it was like a big thing with tuberculosis was spreading around, and you know, FOIs was getting TB because they was like refusing to get the TB shot. I mean, so here you got this old man down the hall, he and stuff spreading all over the place. You know what I mean? And, you know, you had to use good judgment and discretion. You see, you got to make a choice. You got to make a decision. I remember back in around 1987, and it was an AIDS epidemic spread amongst Black people. You know what I mean? And our departed brother, Supreme Angel Quadir, G2, he you know, got me, he's like, look, I mean, we should do a newsletter. So we did a crack newsletter for the Nation of Islam, teaching people about the sciences of health. Now, I mean, he was covering the science and the medicines and all that stuff, and prevention. I was coming with Lost Found Muslim lesson number 2, and, you know, the Bible and the Quran as the spiritual aspect. So we was hitting them with the science and the spirituality, giving the quotes from the messenger and things of that nature there. You know what I mean? And we was quoting Elijah Muhammad. The messenger, when he physically got sick, he listened to the doctor. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad took his medicine. He got his shots, and I mean, the messenger wasn't spooky at all. Don't a lot of people have you think he just ate a piece of garlic and dry fast. And his message like, nah, he had to have heart surgery. You know what I mean? He had to have eye surgery. He had bronchitis. That's why he be coughing all the time. He had to move to Phoenix, Arizona. He took and listened to his doctor's advice and made moves and preserved his life as long as he could. You know what I mean? So he used good judgment and discretion. You know what I mean? Some people don't. You know what I mean? You know, it's like back then it was a big thing where a lot of people was dying of AIDS. You know what I mean? They was confusing HIV with the AIDS. So it was a lot of pseudoscience out there that I'm like, yo, HIV is different from AIDS. You know what I mean? You got, you know, you got spiral viruses, you got rod sacs, you got the rod and what is it, the spiral, the rod shape, and the round ones. I mean, you know, so it was all this confusion. Like, is it the ball? You're looking at the HIV, you're looking at the AIDS virus. It's like, is they dying from HIV or is they dying from AIDS? But they was like HIV/AIDS. It's the same thing. And I mean, it's like, you know, and it's like, isn't it irresponsible not to tell these young boys, like, not to wrap it up and practice safer sex? Like, not safe sex, but safer. Like, they dying. Like, literally. You had FOIs dying. Know what I mean? So we got with the sister and had her come in. It was an organization back then called Bibachi. You know, shout out to the sister, that the president of Bibachi. We had her come in and we did a seminar educating people, giving them factual information on Blacks, educating Blacks about sexual health issues. And it was the same thing during COVID-19. It's like, I don't believe everything the devil say, but I'm in the sciences of life too. I mean, I know it's racism, corporate greed, politics, all kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's like, yo, I'm a minister. I'm holding funerals. Like, yo, I'm taking the FOI body out the refrigerator. MGT's out there, they're dying. They're not that, they're physically dying. Like this spooky stuff you may think is going on. It's like, yo, use good judgment discretion. You don't have to get the virus, you know what? But make sure you using your mask. Make sure you keep your immune system. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated. You got your garlic, your ginger, your lemons, your limes. You know what I mean? Make sure your exercise. You're breathing, getting fresh air, getting your rest. What have you? Like balance that stuff out, because all those that don't have that balance when it comes to the sciences of life will lose their life. That's just the reality of it. Like real people suffered real ailments. Like I seen it. I seen it with my own eyes. Like, yeah, they died. Yeah, they almost died. Now I mean, it's like it's no perfect, and it's not cookie cutters. Everybody can't do. It's like sister so and so had cancer. I mean, brother such and such, he been sick for days. You know what I mean? And it's like so and so's an elder. You know what I mean? You be like, you bring in the children and the teenagers in the house, and we got this elder over here, and everybody breathing and sneezing and coughing. And I mean, it's like, yo, this elder didn't die by chance. It died because of a lack of knowledge, a lack of science, of ignorance, of fear, of stupidity. I mean, it's like, no, we're taught to use good judgment discretion, family. So when it comes to eating to live, I wouldn't care if you are vegan, if you eat 3 meals a day, 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day, if you follow Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, Solace, the Messenger teachings, you Sunni, atheist, Pan-African, Black Panther, 5%er, whatever. Always use good judgment discretion. Always use the best science. Always analyze it, deputize it, and scrutinize it, and take the best parts and do the best you can under the circumstances. But one of the things you want to be mindful of is 2 things. One, start avoiding that red dye number 3, which the government is saying is bad, but you had people in the 70s writing books about it, the chemicals, the artificial. There's so many thousands of authors that put. I got a book that I wrote decades ago called The Angel's Diet. I mean, using the Bible book of Psalms, where it teaches that people will eat the angel's food. Now, I mean, so it's like I got chapters on artificial colors and dyes and stuff like that there, give you the science on and things of that nature there. But it's like, we just individually can't save everyone. That's just not practical. All we could do is try to save as many stranded starfish we come across on the beach, as they say in the parable, when a man tossing the fish and they see the millions of fish stuck on his, he's like, yo, you can't make a difference in this thing. You can't change. They say I could make a difference to that one I tossed into the ocean. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it may be 1 million people suffering. I'm one human being. I mean, it's like I'm one brother. I got 2 phones. I might get 300 phone calls a day. I humanly cannot do it. I can't answer your prayers. I mean, all I can do is try to help people help themselves. I got prioritized stuff. I got personal problems, personal family, personal issues. I'm not being financed by nobody. I mean, I got to make things happen on my own. So it's like, I be like, one thing about me, I ain't working with none of that. So y'all ain't going to kill me. You're not giving me a heart attack. You're not going to give me a stroke. I mean, I'm not going to be homeless. I mean, I'm not going to pay your bills and not pay my bills. See what I'm saying? I'm not going to starve while you eat. No. I'm going to make it happen and be like, yo, you could get this example. I mean, we could network and help each other, but you got to understand, it's like, you got all these other, you be like, oh, I need help with this. And I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. But you got to understand, last night, brother so-and-so got shot 2 times. I'm saying, we're on a whole nother level right now. I mean, you'd be like, yeah, this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, but so and so, I got to do this paperwork, or so and so going to lose this money. I mean, some big money. You talking small money. I mean, so and so got a deadline. Now, I mean, they ready to go to court. Now, I mean, so you got to prioritize. Now, I mean, be like, yo, like, no, so and so. We got to get her to see her doctor tomorrow. Now, I mean, I got to carry her, to and from the car. I got to get her in the wheelchair and get her inside her doctor's appointment. She needs that physically. She needs, I mean, so it's like, it's way more important than you may think you have a problem. Other people have problems. We all got problems. You see what I'm saying? This is why the message teaches us, do for self. I mean, I'm not going to be calling you crying about my problems. I got a whole bunch of problems. I'm gonna take and use my lessons, use my mathematics, use good judgment discretion, use the messenger's message to help guide me through this age of mess. And with that, I want you to do the same. Remember, family, only the messenger's message will guide us through this age of mess. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to the gods. Peace to the goddesses.